What's up, Guardians? It's Black Ops, and today we're going to talk about the new meta or the new balance changes that are in Destiny. We've officially been with them for about a week now. We had a chance to go out and play some trials this weekend, and we've had plenty of time to play some other game modes throughout the week that we've spent with this meta. And so, a lot of people in the community are putting their opinions out there. So I just want to do the same, kind of share my feelings and my thoughts on this new balance of these new changes. So here we go. Let's talk about that. A lot of people are calling this the forced primary meta. Basically, that's pretty much explains itself. It's a meta or a balance that's built to force you to use your primary instead of your special weapons. My initial impression of that was that that's great. Finally, Bungie is going to make primaries viable in the game again, and I've really been looking forward to that. In fact, I had to get used to, running the primary so much myself again, which was kind of weird. But anyways, my first impression was, yeah, this is great. Going to be primaries, awesome. Now, before the balance, we saw roughly like a 60-40 split where special weapons would get 60% of the kills, and usually it was shotgun, and 40% or 45, somewhere around that, would be primary weapon kills. So that's highly imbalanced. Special weapons should not be getting that many kills versus your primary weapon. So obviously that was an issue. I can't tell you how many times I was actually shotgunned in the face by some roller derby juggernaut titan that was skating across every map. So that just had to go. And not because doing that was an issue so much, but because it was just so OP, it was just being exploited. And, so we ran so many trials cards where you would come up against 1, 2, or even 3-person teams running this stupid Titan shield, Titan skating with a shotgun, and it was just ridiculous. So some changes obviously had to be made. What did Bungie get right? So here's kind of what I feel Bungie got right with everything. The changes that they made to shotguns made sense. If you're not familiar with the changes, they took away the ability for shotguns to do precision damage, which to begin with, duh. And they really reduced the aim assist and magnetism feature and the in-air accuracy a lot. Which is fine, whatever. It makes sense. A shotgun is an in-your-face kind of weapon. If you run in, guns blazing, you want to get close quarters and use a shotgun, you still can. And if somebody's pushing you really hard and you need to use a shotgun to force them back or push that, then you can still do that. Shotguns really should feel like they did back in Halo 2 or Halo 3. Those were the heyday of shotguns to me. The way those work, shotgun melee combo. And the distance and everything was great. So hopefully we'll start to feel that way, but I doubt people are going to use that just because they'll find something else to exploit. The finally buffed auto rifles, which even though it was a little bit, it was something I was really happy to see. They have needed a buff for so long, and they've been so irrelevant for so long. So finally Bungie listened to everybody and stepped auto rifles up, which is huge. That's great. I like it. And also hand cannons are kind of now in what I consider the sweet spot. They're still terrible 1v1 at range, but they're extremely deadly when they're played within their intended range, which is how they should be anyways. You won't see any more hawk snipes, but if you get within that hand cannon's usable range and you're not using one, or you're using something else, you're probably going to get outgunned if you're going to get somebody with some good handgun skills. So that's good. They're in their place, and that's kind of the way it is with most primaries right now. Everything's in its place, and as long as you play within that weapon's intended usage, you'll do fine, assuming that your movement and everything is up to par. And also, something that they got right, I think, was the Titan Juggernaut shield being nerfed. Now, it wasn't nerfed to unusability, but it was nerfed enough to where it's going to discourage people to exploit it as much as it was being exploited. And so I was happy to see that as well. Things that Bungie got wrong. Unfortunately, pretty much everything else about this patch was a mistake. In a list of about 30 or so changes, you may have had 4 or 5 of them that were actually a step in the right direction. And I just don't get that. First of all, why would you nerf special ammo? Not only did they nerf it, but they made it really confusing. You start out with some, then it's gone when you die. Then if you don't die, you get to keep it. But if it's elimination mode, no matter how much you get in the round that you're playing, it's gone the next round. And why? The people I game with and myself, we stay on different forums, Reddit, Twitch, and stuff like that. And nobody in the community was complaining about special ammo. Literally nobody was complaining about special ammo. However, they were complaining about specific special weapons, mainly shotguns, because some of them were just broken. So, the sweet green never did anything to anybody, and I don't know why it had to be nerfed, but Bungie, you screwed this one up, man. You screwed special ammo up. Moving on.
Good job.
Why in the name of the Traveler's Sweet Light would you nerf a Hunter subclass yet again? This is probably the most ridiculous change that was made. Of all the OP subclasses and abilities that are out there, and the ones that are being exploited specifically, the idea that a Hunter subclass needed to be nerfed yet again has got to be the dumbest idea that has been implemented in the game in quite a while. And it's ridiculous. And I don't even run Arcblade, so I'm not mad about it. I just think it's stupid. The Arcblade subclass was already one of the weaker options to run in Crucible, and especially 3v3 modes. But now it's just, I mean, it's just another, it's like they're kicking hunters in the face, every chance they get. It's just crazy. There's not too many benefits to running that anymore. In fact, the only nerfs that I feel needed to really happen to subclasses were the reach of the Tickle Me Warlock Arc Melee and the Roller Derby Titan Shields, and that was just to get everything balanced, or not even balanced, just kind of back in line. That's not even starting to balance everything across the board. Don't even get me started on grenades. But that was not touched in this patch for whatever reason. Anyways, with that being said, out of all the changes that were made, a lot of them were kind of just whatever changes that didn't really affect anybody too much. But I think the absolute worst change to this the whole balance, or the quote unquote balance, the whole thing that was changed, the worst was obviously the special ammo. And I know that I'm part of the majority of the Destiny community that's agreeing with that statement in general. That was kind of the one change that really felt to me like a bunch of devs went out into a room and just started throwing darts at a random idea board, and they were just like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's just poop all over special ammo. We haven't done that in a while, so yeah, why not? And I think this change is going to be the most noticeable in 3v3 type matches. Now people are either going to be, super aggressive or super passive and camp special crates and the Scoria artifact and get their supers. And I don't foresee much of an in-between here. And again, I'm not alone in saying this. A lot of other YouTubers and a lot of other people have said, roughly these things. But this is just my way of formally agreeing with that statement. These are some really kind of ludicrous changes. And the problem is that, if you don't really fit into one of those playstyles, either super aggressive or super passive, then you're probably you're gonna have a hard time finding a middle ground with this new patch. And that's unfortunate. And I'm comfortable playing either one of those. So no matter what team I'm in, if they need me to play like that, I can. But some people are going to have a hard time with it, and I hate to see that be the case. Moving on, I'm going to say this. For the most part, aside from the poor Sweet Green getting unjustifiably beaten into the corner, I actually like the weapon changes. I can play aggressive with an auto rifle if I want to. I can play aggressive with a hand cannon if I want to. And the same goes for most primaries. Again, like I said, as long as you play within their intended use, you're probably going to do fine, given that your play skill, your movement skill is up to par with the other people that you're going against. It just happens to play into my this meta or current balance or whatever you want to call it. It just happens to play into my play style instead of playing against it. Now, of course, you're going to see nothing but freaking sidearms everywhere. Get ready for that. Fusion rifles can be a good counter, and there are some other things. And you can still snipe, and don't get me wrong, the special crates have been sped up, so you can still get your special ammo and stuff like that, but it's not going to play as fast. It's going to play slower, a lot slower in those 3v3 and competitive type matches, and that's not the way we want to play this. So will we ever see a balanced game, completely balanced in PvP? Probably not. Probably not going to happen. At least not in Destiny 1, I don't say. Maybe in Destiny 2, but who knows? That they're really going to have to focus on, competitive or PvP type gameplay versus it being an afterthought. But that's, a completely different video. But with all that being said, even though these changes are literally the equivalent to one step forward and like 20 steps back, there's always going to be a loyal fan base. I'm a loyal, fan of this franchise, and it's not going anywhere for me. No matter how crazy the devs get or how crazy the changes get, I'm always gonna love and enjoy this crazy game. So that's it for now, guys. Please let me know what you think about the changes. Which ones have affected you either positively or negatively the most? And I would love to start a conversation with anybody down in the comments below, and just kind of field those questions and those topics. So let's have a chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until the next time, Guardians, Black Ops out.